Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, mumble profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover sensitive topics, and as such, listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn. And my name is Emily, and just in case anybody was curious, that would be our third co-host today, Fig, who apparently has lots of things he needs to scream about right this minute, so...
I mean, it's been a while since we last recorded, so Fig really needs to catch us up on how his life's been going.
It's true, he says that there's bugs outside now, and that's like a huge moment in his life, because now he feels like he needs to eat all of them. And there's been a cat that keeps coming by nearby to like our little outdoor area that we keep them. And I think it has a crush on Clover, because it keeps coming by whenever she's outside. Scandalous. But she's like not into it. And then Fig like will puff up his whole body and like turn into Mr. Buffman and try to like scare away this fella, and he's just a little gray man. He's so cute.
Aww, that's so scandalous. The lives of cats.
It's true. But yes, welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. We are finally returned, both of us. It has been very chaotic, and yeah,
yes,
we're here.
It has for sure been very chaotic. I don't know what was in the air these last few weeks, but I don't like it, and I would enjoy
something else.
Quitting everything.
See, that's like me too. I was on my social media, and there's all this stuff from like people who are into like astronomy and horoscopes. So they're like, oh, it's the alignment of the planets. And I'm like, it could be. There's something in the air. I have no clue, but it's something.
I feel like nothing is aligned, and that is the problem.
Not even my back, actually. That's another separate problem. But, yeah, what's up with you, Jenn? What have you been up to?
Honestly, just working. Yeah, like, nothing exciting. Last week, when I did my solo episode, I didn't even give, like, a week update or anything, because I was just like, I just worked, and that's all.
And then you're like, here's that's the all. Stuff. Enjoy, everyone.
Enjoy some crime. Merry Christmas. Actually, Merry April.
Merry Easter, kind of.
Merry post-Easter. It's fine.
Merry May Day. Wait, no, May hasn't happened yet. Merry almost May Day, but post-Easter.
Yes, exactly. What about you?
Oh, God.
How is your week, month, year going?
Well, I mean, some for sure. Chaotic, definitely. As our show knows, I had to take a break there because of a death of the family, so that's also something. And then since then, just like work and other chaos, and the condo board for our place that we have here has been crawling up my butt the last couple weeks, so I don't love that either, but other than that, life is good.
Honestly, the condo board at my building has also been crawling up our butt lately, and I am not a fan of people
in condo boards
or what to do.
Yeah, like, for us, it's like the weirdest thing ever. So they have a huge issue with our outdoor enclosure, which, like, okay, I guess. I don't know. It's not like it's on the community sidewalk or anything. They just tell us that it's ugly, and I'm like, okay. I guess. Beauty is subjective.
Hurtful, but okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I worked very hard to make that nice, actually. Thank you. And then the other thing was we got like a separate email where they're like, yeah, you can't keep garbage outside. And I'm like looking out there and I'm like, what's the garbage? Because then they sent me this whole list. They're like authorized outdoor items. And of course it has stuff like patio furniture, barbecue, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, so far checking out. where's the garbage? So I go out there and I like literally take a picture of the front of our place, and I'm like, can somebody just please point out to me what the problem is so I can do something about it? Like, I don't want to get emailed about this again. You want to know what they were mad about?
What?
That we have a cat tree outside for the cats to use, like, in their enclosure. And then we have an empty milk crate, which, like, in the summertime we use for, like, recyclables if we're drinking outside or anything like that. And we have an empty milk crate outside. Those are the problems that they had. And I was like, is there not just, like, bigger things to worry about somewhere else? Like, what is the problem?
You should just, like, glue some leaves to the cat tree and be like, look, it's an outdoor plant.
That's actually a great idea. That's hilarious. I might do that, actually. That's a really good idea. Just, like, fucking glue an entire potted fake plant to the top of it and be like, huzzah! It's a plant now. Now piss off.
Exactly.
Oh god, I can't even handle it. Ugh. But that's life for me. I don't know, man. Got no big updates other than that. So, what do you say? Should we rock and roll into our episode today?
Yeah, let's just rock and roll and spin the wheel of whatever.
The wheel of whatever. Exactly. All right, so today's going to be a little bit different. So, I have 2 stories prepared, but you can only pick one. So I'm going to give you, not like a synopsis, but I'm going to give you kind of like a couple genres that you can pick from, okay? We have historical in one category, and then we have a little bit goofy in the other category. So what kind of story are you feeling today? Historical or a little bit goofy?
Well, you know what? Why don't we just spin the wheel and see what it picks? If it lands on green or yellow, we'll go historical, and if it lands on a different color, we'll go goofy.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do it. We're going a little bit goofy today.
I can't wait.
I'm kind of stoked about, because so when I made the notes for both my stories, I was like, oh, they're both so good, and I had such a hard time picking which one. So this makes everything perfect. All right. So I guess the next thing that happens is we spin our wheel again, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can tell me what you think.
Amazing. Let's spin away.
All right. So
Okay.
I gotta read it. Okay. What would your first reaction be if randomly one day, like you're at the office, okay, just tip-a-tapping on your computer, okay? So what would happen what would your first reaction be if randomly one day a crab bit your toe? With its little teeth.
I mean, I would probably be concerned because I don't work on the beach.
Yeah.
I feel like, where are the animal wranglers? Like, who brought the crab in?
Who brought the zoo in my office?
Like, is this someone's lunch? Like, that's sad. Rescue him. I would rescue him, guys. I'm a vegetarian.
See, I feel like if a crab just bit my toe one day out of the blue and I had no clue it was happening, I'd probably kick the crab, would be my first reaction.
I feel like I would be startled for sure. It would be very unexpected.
That it would be. All right, and with that, let's get to our next question.
Okay.
If you were a creature of some kind, would you help humans or would you torment them?
I mean, I feel like the fact that I am a vegetarian kind of leans into the fact that I generally choose to not hurt other sentient beings.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm not planning on torturing them.
Okay, see, I'm the opposite. I say fuck people. I like animals better anyways, and I would torment the humans. Easily. Hands down.
I understand, especially for some people, because they are stupid and annoying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, well, if I was a supernatural creature-y, no longer human, and had a choice, I'm like, yeah, I would absolutely torment the humans. Fuck them. I don't like any of them. Be gone.
You know what? First on my list, anyone who works for a condo board.
Oh yeah, they're the first on my list.
Up.
I'm gonna send crabs after all of their toes as a supernatural being. The crab queen.
You know what? Sand in your keyboard.
Done.
Good luck getting that out.
And guess what? Still nowhere near the beach. How did it happen? Nobody knows.
Sucks to suck, condo boards.
Oh, God. All right, let's get to our third question. Ooh. If you could be half animal, what would you be?
I think I would be half bird. That way I would never have to drive anywhere. I could simply fly.
That is pretty good. I won't lie. I didn't really have, like, an answer to this one picked out already. I was like, I don't know, half most animals does seem pretty cool, except for, I think, maybe most things.
You should be half hippo.
See, but then I'm like, I guess I live near water now, but, like, we live in the middle of the land. So that would be a mostly bad idea.
Those suckers can run so fast and swim fast.
Oh, yeah. And have amazing bite strength. I would be half bat, like a vampire, but like a cute one.
Too late.
No!
It's already happened for you.
Oh, no! Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with bat, just because the flying thing does make sense. And I feel like most like land creatures is kind of like you can do most of those things anyways. So yeah, I think that checks out.
Love that for you.
Yeah. All right, let's spin for our last question. Okay. If you were so big that you could only eat whales, how would you eat them?
With my mouth? How else could you eat them?
I'm meaning more like how would you prepare them? Like, would you make like a whale sandwich? Would you make like a whale smoothie? How would you eat your whale?
You know what? Ideally, I would be in this situation like the Blob, where I could just kind of like absorb it into my skin.
Yeah, like you just like suck it in and you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, and I just like get a little bit bigger for a while and then I kind of like go back to normal eventually. That would be great.
That's a good one. See, I would want to be like a whale master chef. I'd like fry it up a little bit on both sides and cut it into like perfect squares and be like, yes, the high fat content in this whale means we need to simmer it for 20 minutes on each side or whatever. I think that could be fun. Or like be like, I'm a whale stew consumer. It's whale with more whale. And more whale.
Yes, you would be the ultimate connoisseur of whales. Of whale cuisine, if you will.
Whale cuisine. Yes, so, before I get into my description, what do you think my story for you is today?
I have no idea, but what I do know is it's probably very unhinged.
is mildly unhinged. I had so much fun making this story, you don't even know.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Like, this gives me the vibe of magic carpet making someone commit a crime because they're speeding.
You know what? You're actually not that far off with that observation. God. So, and with that, we'll get into our description. So, Pukwudgies are magical little people in the forest in Algonquin folklore, similar to European gnomes or fairies. Pukwudgie stories are told throughout the northeastern United States, southeastern Canada, and the Great Lakes region. However, their nature varies in the folklore of different tribes. In the Ojibwe tribe and other Great Lakes tribes, the Pukwudgie, or Bagwagini, is considered a mischievous but basically good-natured creature who plays tricks on people but is not dangerous. In the Abenaki and other northeast Algonquin tribes, the Pukwudgie, or Bojiman, can be dangerous and only to people who treat them with disrespect. In the Wampanoag and other tribes of southern New England, Pukwudgies are capricious and dangerous creatures who may play harmless tricks or even help a human neighbor, but they are just as likely to steal children or commit deadly acts of sabotage. And according to some Wampanoag stories, Pukwudgies were enemies of the cultural heel Maushop and were even responsible for his death or the deaths of his sons. Pukwudgies are usually described as being knee-high or even smaller. Their name literally means person of the wilderness, and they are usually considered to be spirits of the forest. In some traditions, they have a sweet smell and are associated with flowers. Pukwudgies have magical powers which vary from tribe to tribe, but may include the ability to turn invisible, confuse people, or make them forget things, shapeshift into cougars and other dangerous animals, or bring harm to people by just staring at them. And that is the description.
Yep, gonna be unhinged.
Yes. So, to preface, Pukwudgie stories are all, like, it's so bizarre. So, I, like, normally when I'm looking at, like, cryptid or, like any type of, like, mythological story, like, regarding a creature, there's usually, like, an actual, like, legend that they come from, like, an initial story. And so, The initial story for the Pukwudgies isn't actually about the Pukwudgies at all. It's about this guy, Maushop. So I'm going to tell you the legend of Maushop first, and then let you know some stories from people who've seen Pukwudgies in real life, and what, like, their facts about them are, and that kind of thing, okay?
All right, I'm buckled on in. Take us away, Em.
Amazing. So, Maushop is a mythical hero and giant from Wampanoag folklore. He is said to have several companions, including a giant frog and his wife named Granny Squannet, which I love that, both of those things. I love having a wife named Granny Squannet, and I love having a BFF that is a giant frog. I feel like that is very nice.
I feel like there's no other option when that's your name but to have a BFF that's a giant frog, you know?
Exactly.
Like, it kind of comes with, it's like a birthright.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, literally.
Exactly.
So, Maushop served as an explanation for geographical locations. According to legend, he came from Cape Cod, specifically Aquina, and lived there from before the Wampanoag. Maushop was so large that his diet consisted mainly of whales. So to catch them, he threw boulders into the water to make stepping stones, and then during a celebration, he emptied his pipe ashes into the ocean, and that is what became Nantucket.
Wow. I did not know that about Nantucket.
See, that I'm like, you know, it makes sense. Like, you know, it's a part of the story. If the ashes become Nantucket. It is the way that it is. I just love the very, like the teeny sliding of, and his diet was of only whales for how giant he was. And then all these other things. And I'm like, okay.
It was just, like, so casual. It's like, well, yeah, obviously his dad was eating whales. I don't know why we're even telling you this. Because you probably already knew that.
Literally, right? So then, at one point, a crab bites his toe, causing him to stomp around. leaving
I mean,
large
yeah.
footprints in the ground. And Moshop's Rock is named after this story before Christian missionaries renamed it the Devil's Footprint.
Of course they did.
That's what I said too.
The devil, he's here. We haven't had him in a while.
That he's always here in spirit, and sometimes in stories. A lot of the time in stories, actually, he seems to do a lot. Actually,
He's doing the most, I think.
yeah, he's always seems to be responsible for something. Anyways,
People are just constantly throwing him under the bus, I think.
oh yeah, they're like, "What's one bad thing I've seen today? It's the work of the devil." And he's like, "Guys, I've literally been home all day. Like you can't keep blaming me for stuff."
He's like that coworker who you just like know that they're an idiot, so you just blame whatever on them, even if they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and then they're like, "I wasn't even in at work that day," and you're like, "Mm-hmm." Likely
Yeah, but
story.
you probably influenced it somehow.
Yeah, you were in the mix. I know it. The Devil's Footprint. Okay. Moshop was seen as a provider for the Wampanoag, teaching them how to hunt and fish. The Wampanoag apparently became too reliant on him, so he left so they would learn how to survive on their own. So next are like excerpts of like a story. Like, so there's a bunch of like stories about Moshop. Sorry, I was just like pre-reading my notes first to make sure I was explaining this correctly. So like basically, because there's so many different iterations of Moshop, there's kind of like just like collections of stories. So there's like a little compilation of like who Moshop is, and I'm going to tell you that now. So Moshop, a First Nations giant who once lived on the mainland of Massachusetts, decided one day to settle down on the beautiful island of Martha's Vineyard. Moshop loved to sit on the top of the hill and...
Wait. How did you...
Was it Massachusetts? Right? What did I say?
Massachusetts.
I heard it come out of my mouth and I was like, we're just gonna keep going. Massachusetts.
Anyways.
Okay, so he was in Massachusetts, and now he's in
Massachusetts.
and now he's in Martha's Vineyard, okay? So, Moshop loved to sit on the top of a hill on the vineyard near a town called Gayhead. There is still evidence of his grand seat there in the crater above the cliff. So
This is the most insane story I think you've ever told.
and we're not
me.
even talking about the Pukwudgies yet. So, Moshop, as we know, loved his whale meat, which he would catch with his hands and then cook over a fire that he made by ripping the trees that surrounded him out of the ground. And he did so much of it that today in Gayhead, there are no trees. So
No trees at all? Is that a real fact? I'm gonna personally drive there to fact check that there's no trees.
Once you drive through Massachusetts to get...
I will drive to Massachusetts myself
I'm so
as
excited.
Martha's Vineyard.
And then pass through Martha's Vineyard to Gayhead and categorize the trees. Oh, God.
Take an inventory.
Yeah, there's approximately 2 saplings here. Where's the rest of them?
We're over budget on the trees. I think we gotta get rid of these 2 saplings. There's not supposed to be any left.
We got a reputation here in Gayhead. We gotta get rid of the
We're
trees.
ripping them down.
Power them down. So, as we talked about, to catch the whales, Moshop threw stones into the water to step on, and that's how the rocks between Cuttyhunk and the mainland, called the Devil's Bridge, came to be.
The devil. He's in the bridge. He's in the footsteps. Like, where is he not?
He's in the stones. He's in the bridge. He walked around here. He's in our hearts. Where isn't the devil these days?
He's in Massachusetts.
He protect some residents at Gayhead. That's why they have no trees.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Right. So, Moshop also loved the First Nations who lived nearby him, and he would share all his whale meat with them, and he fed them so well that one year they gathered up all the tobacco that they had harvested and gave it to Moshop to show their appreciation. In his great pipe, Moshop smoked the tobacco, which was barely enough for a man his size, and then he emptied his ashes into the water, which is how Nantucket came to be, which we talked about. So then, one day, Moshop told the First Nations that a new breed of man with fairer skin would soon be coming to their land. He warned them to not let the white man on their shores, for if they did, the Indians would live no more. Which so far seems like pretty valid advice. So then, afterwards...
So he's a fortune teller, too?
Maybe he's got great vision.
Did his great pipe tell him that?
I think the whales might have.
Great pipe. I need more information. Like, is it a giant pipe? Or
apparently.
We breezed past that way too quickly.
No, he just also has, I think, giant things with him because he's like, listen,
Oh.
I eat whales, so, like, everything has to be massive. This is my life.
Got it.
Oh, boy. So then afterwards, Moshop quietly slipped away into the choppy waters off the bay. Soon after, the pale-faced men came ashore and landed near the place where Moshop once lay. The First Nations greeted them with friendship and let them stay, and Moshop has not been seen since that day. Bom, bom, bom.
How ominous.
Yes. And with Moshop's disappearance, we now get back to the Pukwudgies. So, here's some tips.
I like that we haven't even gotten into your story yet. We're just like, this is all set up, folks.
Really? Well, I literally was like, okay, but like, how do the Pukwudgies, like, how are they a thing? And then it was like, oh, they're only a thing because one of the stories of Moshop is that him and his sons were killed by a bunch of Pukwudgies. And then I was like, who's this Moshop fellow? And then I searched him up and I was like, oh, he just like, he does so many things. we gotta talk about this guy.
He smokes giant pipes and eats whales and moth is a vineyard.
Moth is a vineyard. Yeah, exactly. So now we're gonna finally get into the Pukwudgies. So this is like a mixture of like hot tips about Pukwudgies, as well as like short stories of like people who've spotted Pukwudgies. Okay, so
hot tips.
Yeah,
copy that.
So your first hot tip of the night. Okay. If you spot a Pukwudgie, you should leave it alone, because anyone who annoys one will be followed around by the creature and will either fall victim to its nasty tricks, like being stalked and having their memories forgotten, which sucks, or they will meet a much deadlier ending. Bom, bom, bom!
Maybe I pissed one off because I feel like that's just my reality.
I was about to say, my memory is garbage, so maybe we both pissed off the wrong Pukwudgie. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you.
Like, memory's gone.
Snatched.
You forget everything.
Right?
You'll remember in the middle of the night or not at all.
Never again. It's like working at I worked at a restaurant quite literally 10 years ago. And I remember it was like, it would have been a few years ago now, but I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like sweating and I was like, table 6 never got their ketchup. And I was like, wait a damn minute.
Table 6! You're like, oh shit, that's why they didn't tip me.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, 8 years later, I finally remember that they asked for ketchup. Oops.
You should mail it to them now.
Oh god, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot.
I forgot. So your next hot tip, okay? If you annoy a Pukwudgie, then they might kidnap your children, then push you off a cliff, and attack you with their short knives and spears, then use sand to blind you, or they might just, like, convince you to commit suicide, just, like, amongst the other things.
I mean, is that a threat or a promise? Because, like, they can have any child they want. Just take them all.
You're like, I have 0, so take whoever you want. I've got nothing.
Have them. If I have one, take it.
So
It's yours.
here,
It's a promise.
it was promised to you. I swear, just it's your time. Take it. So here's a fun fact. Okay, we're past our first couple of hot tips. So now here's a fun fact. Pukwudgies resemble humans, except for they are much smaller, have a canine-like nose, and they have large ears, lips, and fingers. They have been compared to trolls, goblins, and leprechauns.
Not gonna lie, I was imagining something more akin to a Furby.
You know,
I think I prefer my version of them.
there is another hot item, a hot topic in here that may actually tie into your Furby-esque picture, but you gotta wait. We're getting there.
Oh, okay. I'm jumping ahead and I didn't even know it.
See, you're really into this. So, in case you're curious, Pukwudgies are commonly found in areas with other forms of paranormal activity. They have been sighted near Fall River, which is close to the home of Lizzie Borden, the axe murderess.
Dun,
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 dun.
dun.
They have also been sighted.
Maybe they are the real murderer and they just framed Lizzie.
Yeah, a bunch of Furby-looking goblins with axes. She's like, I swear it wasn't me.
And they're like, sure, Lizzie.
Likely
Locking
story.
you up, throwing away the key.
Yeah.
She's like, I promise.
They're like, get into the home. You're a crazy woman. And she's like, never.
You gone.
So, they've also been cited in the haunted Moundsville State Penitentiary in Indiana and Round Rock in Texas, where Bigfoot allegedly lives.
Oh, yeah, Bigfoot.
You know him. He gets around.
That motherfucker.
You're like, yes, my favorite. I love Bigfoot.
That guy. Maybe he created the devil's footprint and the devil's just been framed.
Maybe, I said his name like 500 times. Moshop, maybe he was actually Bigfoot.
There's a theory for you.
Right?
He's not actually dead. His son just faked his death
See?
so that he could become Bigfoot.
Yep, the rebirth of a legend. So then, Pukwudgies are the oldest mythical creatures in North America. Stories of Pukwudgies originated from Wampanoag, which we talked about, Moken and Algonquin First Nations. They believed the creatures dwelled in the woods and marshes of the eastern seaboard, which we knew. So then, different regions have different views on Pukwudgies. Great Lakes tribes believe that they are mischievous but harmless. Northeast Algonquin tribes believe that they will become violent if disrespected, but they are fine if left alone, which we also talked about. So then there have been a significant amount of Pukwudgie sightings in the woods of Massachusetts. The police have gotten so many reports that a Pukwudgie crossing sign was erected near Freetown State Forest.
I want to see this sign. Is it next to the place with no trees?
I'm sure you'll find it on your road trip to Martha's Vineyard.
In Massachusetts.
You get after you drive through Massachusetts to get the
Okay, I'll be looking.
good. I'll be waiting. So, oh yeah, here's one. Pukwudgies have smooth gray skin that sometimes glows, kind of like a Furby.
I'm trying to picture that.
Oh, don't worry.
I don't know if I can, though.
So also, by the way, in case you're ever curious, literally if you look up what a Pukwudgie looks like, it's basically a Furby looking thing, but instead of fur, it looks like a hedgehog. Like it's all spiky kind of, and I'm like, huh. Interesting.
So it does look like a Furby.
It does look like a Furby.
I'm so smart. I'm literally the most smart person, the smartest
smartest
ever.
person in all of Martha's Vineyard.
I'm a fucking genius who's driving in Massachusetts.
See, this is like, you can tell that you read, because you probably got, I like described in the beginning, I was like, big ears, big lips, and you're like a Furby, yes. It's all coming together.
Yes. I think I read something similar in Queen of Shadows, actually. Or,
You're like,
Court of
yes, I've
Thorn and
mentally pictured
Roses."
one of these before. It's like I've been here already. Oh my god.
Feyre was,
She was wandering through the
up with one of
forest
those.
of Gay Head Moth's vineyard and she found herself.
Some glowing orbs that looked like Furbies, and she's like, "Ah, yes,
The
I know
Pukwudgies.
exactly what you are."
Yeah, I've been searching everywhere for you. So now I have I have a couple things from people who've witnessed Pukwudgies, okay? So the first one is one woman claims she came across a Pukwudgie while walking her dog through the woods. Even though she left it alone and went home, the creature would commonly appear at her window and wake her up, and these occurrences continued until she moved away.
So they're stalkers. Is that the crime?
Yes. So, the second story is one man claims he saw a Pukwudgie with fur, glowing red eyes, and a nose like a wolf, which we're not going to pay attention to. When it ran away from him, it released a disturbing moan.
Listen, any moan is a disturbing moan.
But I can't even envision something that looks like mildly like a Furby
no,
booking it for me and going, oh! Oh!
That's too much. Oh.
Just running off into the woods. I'd be like, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. I gotta get out of here.
That was a very disturbing moan.
Literally. And so, even though their appearance is very off-putting, Pukwudgies are said to have a nice, sweet, floral smell to them.
Oh, well, that's good.
So they wear deodorant, which is a plus, I will say.
They shower regularly.
Mm-hmm. So that's like my little, my hot topic list, but I got a couple more points here for you, okay? So...
Okay.
So the next one is kind of like a little excerpt from like another story. It ties into like my other topics, but like it's gonna be a lot of the same stuff we've already talked about, where it's like, according to legend, Pukwudgies can appear and disappear at will, shapeshift, which we did talk about because they turn into like cougars and stuff. But they most often look like a creature that is basically a half porcupine, half troll, kind of human that walks upright. And they lure people to their deaths, which we talked about. And apparently they can use magic, launch poison arrows, and create fire, which we might have talked about. Maybe.
Oh, I feel like that's new.
Which they're magical and they launch poison arrows?
Yeah.
That probably is new news, actually. We've weaponized the Furby now. The pointy Furby has
God.
weapons.
Jesus Christ, not the Furbies.
So, Pukwudgies are said to be the enemies of cultural heroes like Moushop and Granny Squannet. So, one story from Wampanoag Folklore explains that they began causing mischief and tormenting the First Nations out of jealousy of the devotion and the affection that the First Nations had for Moushop, who eventually exiled them to different parts of North America. Like, Moushop exiled the Pukwudgies. So then... the Pukwudgies, having since then been hostile to humans, then took revenge on Moushop by killing his 5 sons, and some variations suggest that they also killed him, which we have also kind of touched on a bit, but it doesn't say though if they killed Granny Squannet or the giant great toad. I think they're still around. They must be kicking.
I mean, just because they're enemies with Granny, does that really mean that they're enemies with the giant toad? Because I feel like they probably get along in secret.
Yes, they're like BFFs on the side. They're like, no, we're cool, we're cool.
Down low.
They
hang out without Granny knowing.
Yeah, they play pool on Thursdays, and they're like, she could never know. How would she ever know?
Yeah, exactly. Just pray she doesn't come to the pool hall that night.
Right? So then, to tie off the end of my story, I have a couple things. But the first thing is called the Song of Hiawatha. Okay? So,
Okay.
Pukwudgies are mentioned in Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I guess Wadsworth is his middle name. Didn't know that.
That's quite a middle name.
Right? So Mr. Longfellow, I wonder if he comes from Gayhead. But probably not.
Probably.
So his epic poem is called The Song of Hiawatha, and after reading Schoolcraft's stories of Ojibwe folklore, he featured them in the chapter of The Death of Kwasind, which begins with, "Far and wide among the nations spread the name and fame of Kwasind. No man dared strive with Kwasind, no man could compete with Kwasind, but the mischievous Pukwudgies, the envious little people, they, the fairies and the pygmies, plotted and conspired against him." And that is the Song of Hiawatha.
You know, it didn't sound very, like, sing-songy to me. I feel like you need to re-say it in a more jaunty, sing-songy tone.
See, but I feel like a jaunty song probably isn't called The Death of Kwasind.
Just make it festive. Is that too much to ask?
Well, I'm not even sure if Kwasind is the pronunciation. I'm winging it.
It's probably not.
So, the Pukwudgies took out Mo Shop, and then they went after Kwasind. And there we go. But just quickly, as a final excerpt, this is the final thing. So, does the name Pukwudgie sound familiar to you in any way?
No. Should it?
Only if you are a huge nerd, because Pukwudgie is a symbol and name of one of the houses in Ilvermorny School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that is said to represent the heart of a wizard and favor the healers. And just in case you're wondering, what is Ilvermorny? That is the American wizard school from the Harry Potter series.
Ah.
That was only mentioned in books and not in any of the movies, and I think maybe on the website. I don't even know if it was any in the books, actually. It might just be on the website. And there we go.
I never actually read the Harry Potter books.
I did, but I don't remember Pukwudgies being in the books because it's all about, like, Scotland forever, so, like, it's probably not in the books.
They're like, fuck America, that's not important.
Not our priority. But yeah, that is my story for you about our lovely little friends, the Pukwudgies.
Well, I'll try not to piss off those, lovely smelling Furbies.
Rascally, lovely smelling Furbies, yes.
Exactly.
Mildly murderous.
I'll try and be good.
Yeah, mildly murderous, kind of pointy Furbies.
Who have magic and poison arrows. I'll try and steer clear.
Right? And yeah, with that, that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you liked it, make sure to give us a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. I believe most of them have a reviewing set up, so you can send us a review there. Other than that, we are also available on social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. If you want to send us a message about anything you want, if it's to roast me about my horrible pronunciation of a bunch of First Nations people and places, you can send us an email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com. We also have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com, if you want to check us out on there. We also have a Patreon, which is at Wheel of Crime Podcast on Patreon, if you want to be able to check that out and subscribe. And we also still have our Google Doc app up for people to submit stories, and maybe we'll pick yours for our next little themed episode when it comes around to time to do a themed episode. And yeah, I think that's everything. Is there anything I missed?
No, I think that's it. That's all, and we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.